Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to WGIV and on our YouTube channel. This is Mondez Thomas with the Peace and Possibilities podcast. We are here in studio today with Ms. Sandra Basunu from Peace Advisors.
Hey.
Hello. And Ms. Gina Roy, also from Peace Advisors.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we are Peace Advisors. We help people with health insurance, life insurance, and retirement planning. If you have any questions about any of these topics, feel free to give us a call or go online. You can set an appointment with us online at www.peaceadvisor.com. Once again, that's www.peaceadvisor.com. What we wanted to do today, we wanted to continue a conversation that we started talking about legacy. We have children that are considered the sandwich generation. And what a sandwich generation is you have a parent that you may be taking care of. You also have children you may be taking care of. So you're the meat in the middle. So we got to. You said what?
Great way to put it.
Great way to put it. Yeah. And it's like you're kind of stuck in the middle. You have to figure out how to keep the roof over your head and take care of everybody you care about. We talk about this when it comes to legacy because, proper planning goes a long way. And one of the issues that we find when we do our planning for our clients is that people don't take the time to actually have these conversations. They're caught up in social media, they're caught up in family drama, but they don't take time to actually plan out their estate, plan out who's going to take care of who and what's going on. So I'm going to actually start with you, Sandra. You had to take care of your father.
Yes.
So tell us about how that whole process went for you.
It just started from his health. Obviously his health,
Mm-hmm.
he started having health issues and started to decline a little bit. So the family basically had to come together and make a plan and do a schedule for who's going to come when. But when it came down to making the decisions, I was delegated to be the main decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly probably because of my experience too with retirement planning and insurance and everything that we do. But we just came together and decided that I would be the one to make all the decisions. So I had to delegate everybody and talk with the doctors and talk with the nurses and all of the home care aides and everything that would come by. So we just kind of got into it that way.
Now, most people use what they call a Medicare or medical power of attorney, or healthcare power of attorney.
Yes.
Did you have that?
Yes, I was healthcare power of attorney, yes.
Okay.
And durable power of attorney.
Now, when you did that, what type of information did you have to get from the doctors?
Well, given my dad's health and the stroke, they just had to make sure, the doctor just had to make sure that he was able to, or that he understood everything that was going on, just before he was able to sign. So they just basically just did an assessment just to make sure that his mind was okay to know what was going on and understand what he was saying yes and no to.
Okay.
And that was about it.
And then once you had all that paperwork handled, what would you say the process was, taking care of him, bring him in your house and everything?
If I'm going to be honest, it was stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I had a child, and at the time she was a lot younger. She's 5 now, but we had been going through this with my dad's health since she was a baby. So I would go to doctor's appointments with him and a baby carrier or a little toddler coming behind me, or trying to help him get up, get him dressed and cleaned up and in the car, and then you have a little baby with you and stuff like that. So it was a little hard, but the family, I just had to delegate times that would make it easy for myself and for everybody to help out for doctor's appointments and different procedures and everything like that, until we were able to get some people to come to the home and take care of him.
Yeah, one of the things we've noticed with our clients is, you see people that don't have that family network, especially in Charlotte. There's so many people moving to Charlotte on a daily basis. You don't have your family here with you. So when you get older, who's going to take care of you? And we don't even want to think of it that way, but it's a reality. If you have an accident, who do you call? Who's your beneficiary? Who's your power of attorney if need be? Who's going to make those decisions for you? When you have kids, they're too young. They're too young. So when we talk about having a legacy, who's in your network, who's your friends, who's your support group? One thing we've learned, family isn't always just blood. you know.
That's true.
Sometimes you got to cut them off surgically. So, respectfully.
Right.
So, you know, but it is what it is. Gina's over here. So.
Well, no, it's interesting what you talk about with your network. I just had some family members that went through a situation where that part of the family, the mom relocated to like 3 or 4 states away. And they're friends there, but you know, that tight network that is like at home where we're from, because I'm not from here either. But I'm a lot younger too. And I, you know, have a husband, and I do have some relatives that are kind of close. So it's not like we're all alone, but there are no family members down there. So when there was a crisis, it was, you know, and the family said to her when she moved, it's like, there's nobody there. You're like in your 70s. Who's going to be there as your support? And she's got health issues. And that we kind of really saw that recently in we had to go down, and we were going to be gone. We were supposed to be gone for 4 days. Like 15 days later,
wow,
we made it back to Charlotte. But it was just like there was a situation that needed to be handled, and there was nobody. There were no boots on the ground. You know, it's like living in Hawaii. Everything has to get shipped in.
Now, why would she move states away? And
because she said she always wanted to live in Florida or California. Neither state that, you know, no shade on any of those, but
Mama's going to do what Mama wants to do.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And then the children, speaking of the sandwich, you know, the children have to figure out. Now it's like the shoe is on the other foot. Now you figure out how to make it work for me. But
yeah, I just had a client contact me yesterday talking about taking care of his mom. And he's 60 years old. His mom is much older. But, you know, he lived in an apartment for his whole life. But now taking care of his mom, he had to buy a house. And he couldn't find an apartment, you know, or a townhouse that suited their needs. And, you know, even making a huge decision like that, he's trying to retire himself. And, you know, what he was looking at was, I need a first floor bedroom so that my mom can operate without having to go up and down these stairs and navigate that, because, you know, a fall could be terrible. So, you know, he took his life savings and stuff, got this house built, and fortunately everything's appreciating. So whenever their time is up, because she's bedridden now, but whenever the time is up, he can sell the house, hopefully at a profit, and then go back to the way he is living wherever he chooses to live.
He should keep that house and create
an
income stream, but that's another conversation.
See, here at Peace Advisors, we all have different opinions. So
different expertise. Real estate is, you know, what I do.
So we have very different opinions. So, you know, when you're working with us, you're going to get an opinion from one of our advisors, and then they're going to ask somebody else, and we're going to get 5 other opinions.
Right. And all of your options.
We'll give you all of your options, and you can shop. You know, we shop for you, so you can just ask, and we're glad to figure it out. We've fortunately had many clients become wealthy that were in that sandwich generation.
Right.
I can't talk about the one client, but the one that purchased the land down in, you know,
Georgia.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, she got that letter saying how much money her property went up. It's like, you sure you don't want to cash out?
Right. Yeah. That was a real question. That was a real question. Yeah.
Like, you can cash out, sis, and hang out. You know, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
So.
It's funny you say that, too, because I had to do some renovations, and Gina actually kind of helped me with the process. But at the time, the plan was to renovate my dad's house so that I could move in with my daughter and be his full-time caregiver. So we had to go through some of that, you know, fixing everything and renovating and upgrading. But it did make the value of the house go up. So,
see, and that's one thing you want to be aware of when you're looking at taking care of a parent. It's a conversation you need to have.
Yeah, and even in the case where you were talking about the guy where he built the house for his mom because his mom needed to be on the first floor, but at the same time, he's 60 years old. So he didn't necessarily, you know, look in long term. Maybe you need 2 master bedroom suites, you know, on the first floor, or at least a room for at least another caregiver on the first floor. So all of those things kind of come into play. It's like, now I'm in good health, but what if, I'm the caregiver for a parent and then, but, something happens to me. Now I need to be on the first floor and it's my house and I don't want to sleep in the living room. So,
exactly. My house and I'm on the couch. How did that happen?
Exactly.
And I pay all the bills.
And I pay all the bills.
Right.
What? Wait a minute.
So, yeah. So, but, sounds like he built something maybe all on one level anyway. So, but those are real thought processes and conversations that people just really don't think about sometimes.
Now, if you're in that situation where you have an appreciated property, you have equity available in your house, you can actually contact Gina. Again, go on our website, peaceadvisor.com. You can set an appointment with her. She can go over your options. We do in-house financing for this stuff. So, and we have how many carriers? Oh my gosh. How many different lending partners that do the loans?
Oh, I don't even have a number.
It's a lot. So
It's a lot of options.
it's
for
a lot
every
of
situation.
options. Yeah. Like I said, we're brokers, so we shop around. The biggest thing is, when it comes to health insurance, we have about 40 different companies that we work with, all the major carriers. We do life insurance. We shop around for life insurance. We shop around for your investments, and we also shop around if we're doing lending needs for you, because this is all important stuff, and we don't want you making rash decisions without the best information available to you. So once
we
again,
have partners for all of that.
lots of partners. We make friends everywhere.
Exactly.
They love to see us coming. They're like, oh yeah, hey guys.
There's an opportunity.
So again, if you're in this situation, let us know. We're glad to talk it out with you. We also help with the health insurance. When kids get into their parents' health insurance, they have no idea what's going on, especially when it comes to Medicare. And, Medicare only covers so much. And then depending on your plan, you may have a specific network of doctors. If you live in North Carolina and your parent lives in New York, you need to know how those plans work.
Right.
We're licensed in all the states, so we can actually shop around and go over that with you. But, ask the question. Parents are actually being bombarded right now.
Right.
Every day we go to our client's house, they're getting 4 or 5 phone calls while we're sitting there at the table with them.
Right.
Do you want to buy health insurance? Do you know about that free Medicare program?
And it's interesting because they're getting information and the people in their circle are getting information. And so they'll talk to each other and because I had a conversation with somebody recently and they have Medicaid and Medicare. And so they were saying, I was telling my friend about that. And I was like, but they can't have what you have.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone's situation is different.
Everybody's situation.
My friend said that her plan is this, and that, and she is this, and this for free. I'm like, well, everybody's situation is different. She has a different plan than you. It might not work the same for you.
Yeah, or they live in a whole different state.
A whole different. Oh my gosh.
So.
And one of the things, if you want to know how you qualify for these programs, we give basic guidelines. If you want to qualify for Medicare, you have to be 65 or older. You have to, or be disabled for at least 2 years. If you want to qualify for Medicaid, you have to make less than about $1,000 a month in income. That's just there's more specific numbers, but they change all the time. But in general, about $1,000 a month. If you want to qualify to save on your medications, you have to make less than about $1,500 a month as a single person. So those are things. If your family falls into one of those, call us. We will help you fill out the paperwork and understand what you're filling out and where to go and who to talk to. These systems are all backed up. We've had problems with Social Security. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know who's working. If you want a job, just get one. Yeah. Like they're hiring because they have nobody at the helm right now. I mean, there's leaders, but there's no employees.
Right.
So there's opportunities everywhere if you're looking for a job. There's no reason to be unemployed in this economy. You're tripping, unless you're choosing to be unemployed.
That is the truth right there. And a lot of online and at home jobs. But I think there are a number of people, and I've had this conversation in the last 24 hours of, I don't want to work at home.
People are getting tired of sitting at home.
Can't work at home. It's hard. It's a lot harder than people think.
It is because people don't appreciate that you're at work, number one. It doesn't look like work.
So let's have that conversation. So back to the sandwich generation.
Right.
So now, after coming out of COVID, well, we've gone from pandemic to endemic. So now we're just going to have to deal with this. You know, everybody's going to either get it or figure it out. So if you take a vaccine, good luck. If you haven't taken a vaccine, good luck.
Right.
You know,
True.
just don't get monkeypox because we don't know what that's about. You know, but reality is people are working from home now. Technology is improved where people can function and do their job from home. How does that look, taking care of a parent? You know, because you have that parent sitting there that you have to look out for. And then you have your children. You know, one of the things I learned from my mom was go to work. You know, she was gone to work every day. I had my schedule. She had her schedule. If I messed up her schedule, that was my behind. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she worked third shift. So her
my mom
job,
works third shift too, so
yeah, she went to work at 11:30. She was back at house at 8 o'clock in the morning. I had to be in bed by 9. You know, when she left for work, I had to be asleep. When I woke up at 6 in the morning, I had to get myself ready and go to school. If for whatever reason I was still at home when she got home, I better be prepared to answer some serious questions and interrogation.
Deal with the consequences.
It was consequences. There was no, hi, I'm happy to see you, honey.
Yeah.
No, this was, why aren't you at home?
Consequences and situations.
Are we going to the hospital right now? Because you must be half dead.
Right. If not, you will be soon.
Yeah, exactly. So there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
And I knew that growing up. You know, I can't just make up an illness. I can't pretend to be sick because my mom's going to cuss me out and there's no one to protect me from her. You know? So I would handle my business as a young child and go to school and then come home 2, 3 o'clock. You know, dinner was done by 7, ate dinner, hung out with my mom.
You knew the routine.
Yeah, and it was a strict routine. Now, when you go to a working from home, now I see mom at home every day. What is mom doing? She's hanging out watching TV. She's got her Netflix on and she's hanging out with me and the dog and the cat.
Yeah.
And I don't have to respect her space and working. You know, she's going to tell me to go away because she's on the phone, but she's always with me.
Yeah.
You know, does that change?
Working from home is an art form. And you really, really, really have to set up really clear boundaries and communicate them to everybody. I work from home and I'm terrible at setting up those boundaries.
Do you have to lock yourself into an office or something?
I mean, I do. I have an office.
Okay.
Like if you walk into my office, it's clearly a workspace. You know, it's file cabinets and all kind of stuff.
Free advice. We recommend that everybody has a workspace and office at home to write off on their taxes. Well, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Even, you know, and I've seen some really cool ideas of spaces that people create, like under stairways and like really neat ideas. But okay, I digress. But I think that's the trick. And if you have a job, like I know there are a lot of, I'm not going to name any companies right here, but there are a lot of airlines that will do customer service, places where you can shop online and will deliver things to you that have customer service from home, and a lot of tech companies, you know, like computer companies, all of those, they all have, you know, these online services. So in the case where you could work a third shift, like if you have a child that needs, that actually can be ideal if you can be disciplined enough to do that 11 to 7 overnight while the house is quiet and everybody is asleep. Then they wake up, you get them out the house. That's when you rest. Now, you know, and obviously as a single parent or as a couple, that makes a difference too, is like what all falls on you. And if you're part of the sandwich generation, you know, is that parent up at night? Because now, because true. you know, they have, now you got really conflicting schedules. But again, that's where you know, even if you get an overnight caregiver, you're still in the house because you're at work. But at least there is like another set of hands to make sure that they're taken care of. So, but again, if you're working from home, it's really just a matter of you really have to set up those boundaries so people are like, yeah, let's go to lunch.
Yeah.
You can come over and have lunch here, but I'm not going anywhere. Feel free to bring
and
lunch.
I think it kind of depends on the type of job too. Because
It
like
does.
for what we do, is we're a little bit more flexible. But
Right.
if you're on the clock or you're on the schedule, like for me personally, sometimes my daughter won't bother me until she sees me crack open my laptop or get on the phone, and that's when she wants all the
course.
attention in the world. I want to go to the park. Can we do this? Can you? So that can be a little challenging.
And at 5, you can't say that's right on the edge of better.
Yeah.
But by the time they're 9 or 10, you just give them the look.
Look, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Or she'll
For real.
come, when you're done working, mommy, can we do this? Can we do that? I'm like, just give me some time, So it depends on the type of job, I guess, as well. And whatever type of help that you have at home, that definitely makes a difference. Like you said, like if you work at night and the parent is up at night, depending on whatever their health situation is, you will probably need to have a caregiver or
Right.
somebody else at home with you,
yeah.
as well. So
And that brings us back to having these conversations. We don't have these conversations. And again, people go home for Thanksgiving, they go home for the holidays, they celebrate 4th of July, Juneteenth, everything, birthdays, all this. And they don't have a conversation about anything important.
nope.
And I get this thing called Market Watch. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but they're always blowing up my computer with something. And there was a story recently about there were like 6 siblings, and there's always only like 1 or 2 people. I don't care how many brothers and sisters you have. There's always only going to be like 1 or 2 people that actually do the work with the aging parent.
Speak on it.
Yeah, that's why I
And-
got delegated.
Right, exactly.
And I'm the youngest.
Right.
And mind you, I'm the youngest.
And
by,
usually it is.
My sisters are way older than me.
It's usually either the oldest one or
Or
the
the
youngest one, because the youngest one is usually the one that doesn't have a lot of tethers. The youngest one doesn't have a spouse or family or kids, so they can quote unquote sacrifice their time, or their schedules are perceived to be more flexible. They seem to have more availability to everybody else who has the kids and stuff of their own. Or the oldest one, because the oldest ones usually are the ones who are the responsible ones, and they feel this sense of, I gotta take care of them.
Yeah.
The ones in the middle, they're used to not to being like in the cradle, and it's like we're just not doing any of that. And the youngest ones are like that too, but since they're the one that don't have responsibility, they have like the cumulative guilt of all the rest of everybody saying, you need to do this.
Yeah.
But those can be paid positions by if you are an in-home caregiver. And the Market Watch story I was talking about was now the mom and dad have passed on. They took care of the mom and dad. There are assets there. And I think the way that they were set up, maybe the ones that were the caregivers maybe got a little bit more, and everybody else is resentful. But it's like, but you were not there at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. You were not there when I had to lift this person. You weren't there. But again, no one has those conversations.
That's a real conversation.
That's a real conversation.
Listen, when you have to, not to cut you off, but it's a reality check when you have to help your dad get changed and
Right.
see him, exposed, and he's not like I had to tell my dad plenty of times. My sister and I, like, listen, we can't just leave you, soiled or on the floor or whatever. We have to do it. It's uncomfortable for both of us, but
I couldn't even imagine.
yeah,
As a
so
guy,
that was a
I couldn't
reality
even-
check for me. And I've worked
I
as a
couldn't do
CNA before, so it wasn't a big deal. But the fact that it was a parent, my dad, at
Right.
that, it was just kind of like a reality check. But
Right.
I
And
couldn't
you
even
got
imagine changing a parent. Like, I
oh
just
man, I
couldn't.
got some stories, man.
I mean, like you said, it's uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
fortunately, I haven't been in that situation. If I was in that situation, I have to get over it real quick.
Yeah.
And grow up. But just my mind now, like I would not want to do that. Like, who do I pay to do this
Right,
for? Because
yeah.
I don't think I have no idea. Like, what are you mad at me, mom? Like, what is going on? Like, what do we eat today? Like, what is this? I don't know.
Right.
But
But that's a real thing, is that if you care for a parent at home, then in some cases the state may pay you, because you can't go out. I mean, it is now, it's a job, it's a responsibility, but no one knows those things. And then afterwards, if you weren't paid, then maybe you are due something even once the parent passes. And everybody else can just be mad, but it's almost like you kind of earned it, and it has nothing to do with, well, you should have done it because it was your parent. Well, then if you're right, I should have done it because it was my parent, but guess what? So there's something in it for me,
right?
Not for you, because you should have done it. And it, no harm, no foul, no shame. It is what it is, and it's just fair.
Now, you can follow our YouTube shows. We did a show previously with City Councilman Braxton Winston, and we were talking about the things that the state covers. The getting paid for taking care of your family member is actually covered under Medicaid. Right now, General Assembly is talking about expanding Medicaid and what that looks like. It's imperative that people vote. In other states, Medicare plans actually will pay a caregiver to take care of that person, whether you're licensed or not. So you can actually get an income from the health insurance to pay for that person. This is in New York, in New York City. North Carolina has not passed that yet. So there's levels to the way the state can assist. There's federal money available to you to assist, because when we break down the numbers, because I'm the numbers guy, so when we break down the numbers, if you have someone coming to take care of you, that's $40,000 a year starting. All right, that's like a regular visitation. If you're going to go stay somewhere, that's $90-something thousand a year for a nursing home, minimum. All right, people don't have this money. You're foolish if you think they do. So what happens is they go to the state, they spend all their resources, they lose, their house gets a lien against it, or whatever the case may be. Medicaid spend down.
And you have to also understand state by state for that, because if you have a spouse, then that rule changes. In Florida, that rule changes. Because the senior community there apparently rules things.
They vote.
Right. So I think in Florida, that doesn't apply.
The homestead laws protect it.
Exactly. But you have to understand the laws in your state. If you're disabled, the other thing that people get caught up in that they may or may not realize is real estate taxes on their property. You can lose it if it's not paid. The state doesn't pay it for you. If you're disabled, nobody else pays it for you. You might get a discount, and it might be significant, but there is still that people have to be mindful of. So it's not like a 20-minute conversation. Now we're gonna go eat ribs and stuff like that because we had the cookout. It's exactly. a series because it's literally an onion.
Yeah, we want you to take care of your parents. We want you to be taken care of. We know the stress that people have to bear, and you don't want to transfer that trauma to your child because you're miserable because you're having to deal with all this extra stress of maintaining responsibilities.
Tell me about it.
So, we want you to have these conversations, get it out front, talk to your family members, talk to your siblings about it, do what you need to do because there's no point in keeping secrets that are just going to burn you up later. Have a conversation. If they're uncomfortable with it, follow back on it the next year. I told you about this last year. What are we going to do?
And hope to God that in that year, you don't have to put into practice anything that you thought you were going to talk about.
Exactly. So, but we're just having these conversations today. We hope we get to inspire you in your conversations with your family. Again, we are Peace Advisors. You can visit us online at www.peaceadvisor.com. Schedule an appointment with any of our advisors to talk about any of this. We are licensed in multiple states, and I'm actually long-term care certified. So this is actually my wheelhouse. This is what I talk about all the time. So again, I want to make sure you have your sanity because I don't want to see you on Lifetime movies, talking about what you did to your parent because you lost it, So, but feel free to visit us.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. So feel free to visit us online at www.peaceadvisor.com. And if you're on YouTube, feel free to share our videos on Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook at Mondez Thomas. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks for tuning in.